I first heard about monkey-faced bats in the mid-90s whenever I began my career. At the time, there wasn't a lot of information known about these bats. There are a few species in the Solomon Islands. I knew that they were a smaller bat as opposed to some of the bigger flying fox species in the Pteralopex genus, between 200 and 500 grams. They have dark fur on them, heavy fur, small ears. Their eyes are pretty unique in that they're a reddish-orange color. They have mottled wings to help with camouflage, and they have something very distinctive about them is their wing membrane, instead of connecting to the sides of their body, actually goes to the spine. But the one thing I kept finding out over and over again is that these species are extremely rare. And unfortunately, there really wasn't a lot of data on them, and some of the species were only known from one or two individuals. So over the years and as time has passed, I had asked a few researchers and field biologists if anybody's doing any research on them, and I really wasn't finding a lot of information. A couple years ago, I was fortunate enough to get the position as director at Lubee, and that enabled me to have connections with people all over the world. And for the past 2 years, I've been sending out a lot of emails to people, not only for the Fijian fruit bat, located in some of the islands off the coast of Fiji, but also the Pteralopex species, the monkey-faced bats in the Solomon Islands. And I was fortunate enough to be in communication with Dr. Diana Fisher from the University of Queensland. And I found out that she had actually been in the Solomon Islands in the early 90s and did one of the only extensive field surveys to go in and look for these bats. And one of the species that she had found was a new species, is now called the new Georgian monkey-faced bat. And all the monkey-faced bats are in the genus Pteralopex. It's known as Pteralopex taki. And Dr. Fisher had been in there, done a lot of studies, found them in certain areas, but unfortunately, whenever I was in communication with her, we found out that from 1998 through about 2008, they pretty much logged every area where this bat was found. Logging has been very extensive throughout the Solomon Islands, and unfortunately, these bats like to roost in lowland areas, in large trees. Picture a large ficus tree, large banyan tree, and they're pretty unique when it comes to fruit bat species. They like to roost in the hollows in trees. Unfortunately, whenever they did their surveys, they only found them in these large stands of trees and also in ancient ruins where old fruit and nut groves were found. But again, this area has been extensively logged, and a lot of the areas where she had found these bats previously in the early 90s, it had been cleared either for timber or for palm oil conversion. The good thing is, in being in touch with her, Dr. Fisher wants to send a team of researchers back to the islands of the Western Islands of the Solomon Islands to perform a field study to not only look at population monitoring, roost surveys, but also to work with the communities that are there. You're not going to have any conservation projects without getting local involvement. One of the people who's going to be on her team is a gentleman named Dr. Tyrone Lavery from the University of Queensland as well. And he was actually the last individual to catch a new Georgian monkey-faced bat in 2011. And he found it in this conservation area on the island of Vanguna. So this project is going to go back, send researchers into the last areas that they found this bat. Again, not only for population monitoring, but also to work with the landowners in these communities where they have conservation areas. The Solomon Islands government has issued a statement that basically says that if we can show that there's biodiversity and that certain areas hold a high level of endemic species, that they will be able to set aside those areas as community conservation areas. And the people that are in these communities want to hold on to these areas of land, but they need to present something to the government to do so. So this project is extremely important, not only for the bat population species that are there, but also for the communities. I've been working with bats for about 17 years, and people say, well, why conserve these bats? Why should we care? And fruit bats are extremely important, not only for seed dispersal, but also for pollination. And these bats in general are so extremely endangered that I feel that we should be in these areas and doing work. And if you look at the areas where we focus our conservation efforts, primarily they are, not exclusively, but primarily they are Florida bats, Pteralopex species, or the large flying fox species, and also critically endangered species. And this project perfectly aligns with what our mission is. So we're hoping that our supporters, our followers on Facebook, and the people that are associated with Lubee will really have a vested interest in this project because it is so unique, it is so one of a kind that we hope people are excited about it. A couple ways you can find out about it. We're going to be sending out a newsletter. You can also go on our Facebook page and also on our website, which is www.lubee.org. If people want to donate, there's options to donate, but all we really want to do is raise enough funds for this project, but to get people excited and involved in saving one of the rarest mammals in the world that you probably never even heard of. So I hope you'll join us. I hope you'll go to our website and our Facebook page and check it out. We appreciate the support.